Unpopular opinion, seeing the total eclipse wasn't all that. Whoa, that's crazy.
Whoa! Woohoo! Woo! Woo! Oh my god!
That's crazy.
Dude, look at the horizon!
Kidding, it was incredible. Just finished totality, that was pretty cool. Like, the sky just instantly got dark and then you see the sun covered, but then the skies were colorful. Like, it was pretty insane to see. What a whirlwind it's been. On April 8th, 2024, I witnessed and photographed my first total solar eclipse, and I'm going to share with you my experiences, mistakes I made, and what I've learned. My name is Erin Donahue, and I'm a travel photographer and content creator based out of New York City. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it helps my videos get out there and help more people like you interested in the topics I cover, mainly photography and travel. After a month away in Taiwan and Japan, I thought I was going to jump on another plane and head down to Texas to photograph the solar eclipse. However, that didn't happen. 48 hours before I was set to travel to Texas, I completely scrapped my plans due to the weather forecast and pivoted, going to Vermont instead. Talk about spontaneity. While it was a big deal, I recently learned this, but solar eclipses are not rare and they happen approximately every 18 months. There are 4 types of solar eclipses: a partial, an annular, a total, which is what this one was, and a hybrid. Before this eclipse, there was also an annular eclipse about 6 months ago in North America. There's even going to be another one later this year, but in South America. The next one in North America, though, will be in 2044. What even is a solar eclipse, and what's totality? It's when the moon passes in front of the sun
And Mars.
and creates a shadow on the Earth. So what made this total solar eclipse so special? There's always something that makes these special, right? From what I understand, there are a few reasons. The last time a totality of this length occurred in North America was during 1806, and that length of time was over 4 minutes. This one was 3 minutes and 32 seconds. A long totality also means a darker totality. The last time there was a total solar eclipse in North America was in 2017. I distinctly remember sitting at my cubicle in Weehawken, not understanding what was so special about the moon crossing in front of the sun. That's because New York and New Jersey weren't along the path then, and they still weren't this time either. 100% totality is necessary. The 99% and under areas do not experience the same effect. I do recommend going out of your way at least once in your life to see it for yourself. So if you get the itch to start eclipse chasing, here's what you can expect and how to prepare. Obviously, we gotta talk camera gear. The longer the focal length, the bigger the sun will look because of compression. I used Sony's 200 to 600mm that my friend lent me. Something to take into account, because there will be people saying to get a converter, is sticking to the 600mm. If you want to get the wisps of the corona, those will stretch out across the frame. So a converter is not necessary unless you're trying to get specific detail. The most important part of all this to happen is you need a solar filter for your camera. Solar filters and ND filters are not the same thing. A solar filter is a type of ND filter, but solar filters cut UV and IR rays, which will protect your camera sensor. Only during a total solar eclipse can you take off the filter during totality. This is because the moon is completely blocking the sun, and it will be too dark if you leave the filter on. During this type of totality, you can take off your eye protection as well. For any other solar eclipse, do not take off the filter as it can damage your sensor, and don't take off eye protection either. If you are using a heavy telephoto like I did, be sure the payload of your tripod can handle the weight of your telephoto lens. When I was at Sony Kando, I was trying out their $13,000 600mm lens and didn't take into account how heavy it would be for my tripod. At the time, I also didn't realize the handle or foot is there with a tripod screw so that the weight is more evenly distributed. When I tried taking pictures of the sunset and moon, my tripod couldn't handle the weight and I was left scrambling and just holding up my camera with my hands. Part of why that happened too was the tripod head. I think most tripod setups are with ball heads, but for this I decided to go with a pan tilt head instead for stability. The last essential camera accessory you should have is a remote control shutter. I almost never use one, just typically use the camera's internal intervalometer, but I'm so glad I brought this with me. Just so you know, unless you have a star tracker, doing a time lapse is near impossible when zoomed in on a telephoto. With a wide angle lens, sure, it's doable. There's not enough space within the frame of the camera and the sun is constantly moving across the sky, so you're always touching the camera every couple of minutes. This leaves your camera prone to shake and thus messing up the shot, so use a remote control shutter in order to limit the touching of the camera during totality. You'll thank me for this. You might be looking for camera settings, but I'm not going to share those because my main takeaway after all this was to go with what you know when it comes to taking pictures. I say that because in the lead up to Eclipse Day, there was so much noise online about what were the best settings for capturing the eclipse. I ended up second guessing myself and how I wanted to capture it. To be honest, I'm not that happy with the pictures I took because they weren't the ideal settings, but I'm not that concerned since there'll be more opportunities in the near future. What you should definitely do though is come up with a shot list. I captured images like the corona, Bailey's beads, and diamond ring. However, I forgot to take a wide-angle shot, video with the zoom lens, and I didn't get to take a self-portrait because I was relying on others to help me. I failed to make an executive decision to do it myself when time was running out. So you should not rely on others even if you're going to be with a group, because everyone will be doing their own thing. Trust. I also bracketed my shots because everyone online said to, but to be honest, I'm not sure if it was needed. I guess still do it to have the variety for HDR just in case. This is not photography related, but you can start to feel the air getting cool 30 minutes after first touch, which is also about 30 minutes before totality. I did also get sunburned, even with SPF, so make sure you always have extra SPF with you. You might think to book accommodations early, but now that I've gone through it, I've changed my mind, and this is one of the things you should be spontaneous on and wing it. Maybe wing it's not the right word, but be more flexible. I already had my eyes set on Texas because I had heard people in the astrophotography community planning for it back in September 2022. Statistically speaking, the chances of cloud cover along the path of totality are all about the same. The week leading up to the eclipse, because it was in April, peak rainy spring season, I kid you not, there was a massive cloud cover across the whole country, with Texas looking the most disappointing. With the hours counting down, I decided to cancel everything and pivot to a new location. This was one of the few times I had booked my flight through a third party because it was the cheapest flight I could find, and because it was a basic economy ticket, I got neither a refund nor travel credit through the airline. Learn from my mistake and be sure to always book a refundable ticket and/or directly with the airline in order to get travel credit back at the bare minimum. All that being said, the word that came to my head during the 3 minutes and 32 seconds of totality was disbelief. I had no expectations of the event. For anyone who doesn't understand the hype of a total solar eclipse, you have to see it with your own eyes along the path of totality, at a place that has 100% totality. The quickness of the sun's light being blocked to yield a corona around a circle of black, the dark blue sky with harsh shadows on the ground, the color of the yellow and orange sunset in the horizon while the sun is still high overhead. May you all get to experience such a phenomenon at least once in your life. Again, solar eclipses are not rare, and it's worth to travel to see one for yourself. Happy snapping.